Today's broadcast is sponsored in part by Decks & More, owned by Tony Moore. Tony and his Decks & More team specialize in commercial reconstruction and repair, as well as decks and custom wood projects. Their motto is, with one call, we can fix it all. Give Tony Moore a call today at 252-526-8692 or visit him online at decksandmore.com. That's 252-526-8692 and tell Tony New Snooze sent you. Our election coverage is sponsored in part by Matrix East. Matrix East has 3 licensed surveyors on staff completing surveys for residential and commercial customers across the state. Owned and operated by John C. Nix, PLS, and Chris Padrick, PLS, they've been in business since 2001, completing large and small construction projects. Give Matrix East a call at 252-522-2500 and tell them New Snooze sent you.
Which picture gets more views, likes, and shares?
And we crossed the finish line together and we're able to show really meaningful results.
Well, my name is Chris Suggs, and I'm an 18-year-old student, nonprofit CEO, and entrepreneur.
It's sports time!
And first pitch is at 1 that day. Go Woodies!
Well, good evening. This is BJ Murphy, and I have with me Brian Hanks. Brian is the editor of New Snooze, and I'm the publisher of New Snooze and newsnooze.com, and we are excited to bring you the U.S. 3rd District General Election Results Show. Brian, seems like we've been voting all year, and tonight's a big night here in the 3rd District.
It's a huge night. As Mike Parker wrote in one of the columns for New Snooze recently, this is an area, including District 9 down further east North Carolina. We've not had representation in the United States Congress and from our area, so it's about time. So after tonight, they'll be sworn in sometime in the next couple of weeks. We will finally, here in District 3, have representation, and it's about time. I mean, when you think about it, from February to September, we have had no representation in the United States House.
And this is all because of the passing of the late Walter B. Jones Jr. He certainly was somebody who stood his ground in Washington, D.C. I know you and I both had a personal relationship with him over the years. He came to Kinston every summer for the naturalization ceremony. I got a chance to see him when I was in D.C. as mayor and talking about flood prevention and mitigation efforts. And certainly when he was home in the district, saw him at many meetings. In fact, I think New Snooze, we covered one of his last, it was a quasi-town hall with some of the local officials discussing post-Florence related issues here in Lenoir County. So it's sad to see him go, but as our democracy, our republic works, we still need representation, and the hope is that we'll find somebody that suits and represents all of Eastern North Carolina really well. We could not do this show without the help of our sponsors, so really want to say a big thank you. You've already seen a commercial for a couple of them, Matrix East and Decks & More. Also want to say a big thank you to King's Restaurant and Senator Jim Perry. We'll talk a little bit more about them as the show unfolds, but this would not be possible without them. So with our sponsors, we encourage you to go to their website, go to their restaurant, call on them for business, because we provide this service free to the public, Brian, and we've been doing it for a little over a year now, but we could not be doing this without their help. So really big thank you to them. Absolutely. And I mean, when you say those sponsors, I mean, King's Restaurant jumps out. Well, all of them do. But when you next time you're in King's, go find Joe. Tell him thank you for sponsoring this. I mean, there was a reason why he was a Citizen of the Year last year, and it's because he takes care of not just us, but he takes care of everybody in our community. I mean, he's the one that's always, it seems like everywhere I go, if it's a golf tournament, if it's whatever,
King's Restaurant's name is on it. So thank you to all these sponsors, and thank you to Joe and Angie.
Yeah, and let's talk real quick. But we've got some early results that we're going to bring to you here in just a moment, based on the one-stop voting. But real quick, what do you think, Brian? I mean, you've lived in this district for a long time. We've been part of the 7th and sometimes the 1st and the 3rd, but you've lived here a long time. What do you think some of the big issues, as you've talked to people, as you've written columns, if you've been in the Wood Ducks games, as you've worked with the county, Jones County, a big shout out to Jones and Lenoir County. I know, and folks in Green, but I know you had an intimate relationship with Jones and Lenoir this past week with Dorian coming through. What are some of the issues you're seeing on the ground in our communities?
The most immediate one that comes to me, BJ, and it's maybe it's because Dorian did just come through, but it's definitely flood prevention. And I mean, how are we going to get ready as a community? How are we going to get ready as Eastern North Carolina for future floods? I mean, we've now seen 3 major hurricanes come through in the past 4 years. We've had, 3 or 4, or at least 2 500-year floods in the past couple of years. So how are we going to deal with that? How are we going to prepare Eastern North Carolina? To me, that is the number one issue. And I know that one of the neat things that you and I have done is we've talked to candidates over the past year plus when we're doing election coverages. What do you think the number one issue is? To me, I don't think there is a bigger issue. Yes, I can understand employment needing to come up. I can understand crime being a pretty big deal. But how are you going to take care of all of those issues if people can't even live here because of flooding?
Right. Flood mitigation was something near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
I studied it extensively, and you're right. It is an issue that is one of those issues. It's kind of like debt. If you don't treat it, if you don't do something about it, it's just going to get worse and get bigger. And that is the issue facing us. It's going to continue to rain. The rivers are going to continue to flood. The creeks are going to continue to rise. And there's so many different issues around ways that we can prevent it, or not necessarily prevent flooding, but reduce its impact, so that we can continue with business. I know the folks on the Outer Banks right now, they're in a really bad position. And I know, like Cap's Trailers today, I went and did some work with him. They were taking, I think, like almost 100 coolers there because they just needed ice. So there's issues there on the islands right now. So as we're doing this live show, and we're about to give you some results here in a second, the people in the Bahamas and the Outer Banks of our communities and our nation area, they still need our help and our support, whether that's money or whether that's supplies. And we've been the benefactor of that. And so if you have an opportunity, I would want to encourage you to reach out to the emergency management in that area to see who it is, who you can give money to or who you can give supplies to. I'm sure they'll be able to direct you to the right person. But let's thank real quick a couple of our sponsors, if you don't mind. I know Senator Jim Perry, went back and forth with him today a little bit about the amount of work that they're doing in the North Carolina General Assembly right now. And so we just want to say a big thank you to Senator Jim Perry for helping to support this broadcast here tonight. Jim Perry is a native of Lenoir County and a graduate of South Lenoir High School and Lenoir Community College. Senator Perry serves, he says, because he wants to help the people of the East. So just contact him at jimperrync.com or just find him on Facebook. I know he's been very active with educating people on what's happening in the General Assembly. Again, that's jimperrync.com. Thank you, Senator Jim Perry.
Thank you again so much, Senator Perry. We were talking about King's Restaurant just a moment ago. King's Restaurant's been providing world-famous chicken and barbecue since 1936, and I think you and I have we've eaten our fair share of it, haven't we? For sure. King's has a reputation for serving the finest Eastern North Carolina style barbecue and Southern food. It's the perfect spot for lunch or dinner, whether you want a buffet or selections from their vast menu. King's Restaurant has several locations to serve you. I know there's 3 in Kinston. There's one in Snow Hill. They'd love to cater your event. Go to www.kingsbbq.com and tell them Noose News sent you. Again, that's kingsbbq.com. And if you're watching this and you're from outside the area and you're getting your King's buzz on, you want to get some King's barbecue, visit kingsbbq.com. they send barbecue all over the country, all over the world, actually.
Right.
So be sure to visit that and order your barbecue.
And I want to take just a second. I know you might have seen the commercial earlier, but Magic Mile Media, the parent company of News News, is hosting a social media marketing summit. Next month is on Saturday, October 5th, and it is designed for entrepreneurs, social media managers, and marketing professionals. You really need to be at this SM3 summit. We're going to hold it at the Art Center here in downtown Kinston. We have speakers from across the state who are experts in social media and business, and we're bringing them all here for a one-day kind of a deep dive, Brian, on some of the hot topics like how to go viral, how to tell your story, or why you should do certain things. And we're going to break it down. One of the ladies, I don't know if you've heard of the family on Facebook that kind of go viral. Their video is called the Holderness Family. They do this.
I got to say, he used to be the sports director of the NBC affiliate up in Raleigh.
That's right.
So I credentialed him for the Holiday Invitational.
No way.
Ken Holderness. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, one of the ladies behind the scenes, kind of like Dr. Travis Town and Aletha Thrower behind the scenes tonight, one of the ladies behind the scenes with that creative energy, her name is Anne-Marie Tepke, and she will be one of our featured speakers that day. So she's behind some of the things that make that work, and she's going to break down how to go viral. So really want you to participate. Just go to sm3summit.com. Again, it's social media summit, sm3summit.com.
And I got to tell you, I'm impressed with some of the local names. I know you're going to have a local element to it.
That's right.
You've also got the regional element too.
Right.
But when you look at heavy hitters in our community that you've got, like Chris Suggs, you've got the famous Alexa Kay from the Down East Wood Ducks. You've got
Right.
Seraphim Smith from right here in town too.
Mallory Kennedy from LCC.
Absolutely. I mean, you've done a pretty good job putting this thing together, BJ. And if you are interested in social media and social media marketing, you definitely want to be a part of this.
Absolutely. So we've got some results we want to give to you. Now, most of these are the from the one-stop, basically early voting. And so let's go ahead and pull those up on the screen if you don't mind. All right, out of there's 236 precincts in the entire district, Brian. 43 have come in so far. Democrat Alan Thomas, he's at 41%. Republican Greg Murphy is at 57%. Libertarian candidate Tim Harris is at 30%. And 0.3%. Forgive me, I didn't see that. 0.3%, and Constitutional Party member Mr. Holt is at 0.47%. So really no surprise, at least on our end, that it was going to be the Democrat and the Republican leading the charge here. I know that I've had a chance to interview Mr. Holt, Murphy, and Thomas. I know you had an opportunity to interview Mr. Harris as well as Mr. Thomas. So we've had an opportunity to get to know these guys pretty well. What do you say about these early numbers?
Pretty much what we expected at this point. I think as we see where the results are coming from and what we there's going to be some, as there is in any district, you've got the really heavy Democratic areas, you've got the really heavy Republican areas.
Right.
I think we're going to maybe see a little bit of movement there. I didn't know if we were going to throw some predictions out there. We don't really like to do that, but I'll be honest, this is about where it's going, where I thought it was going to be right now. I guess the only one, or the only two that kind of surprised me are the third-party candidates. I thought there might be a little bit more representation. Don't get it twisted. I didn't think either one of those were going to win, but I thought they may even be in the 1%, 2% numbers each, and maybe have an opportunity to sway some of the final results. But I mean, to see 57-41 right now with 43 of 236 precincts reporting, not a surprise to me right now.
Well, and one thing that was interesting, and there's some numbers I got a hold of before today's voting. So this is just the one-stop turnout. A one-stop turnout in the entire district. Now, not all of these are whole districts like Pitt. I believe is basically split in half in this district. But the number of registrations, for example, in Beaufort were 31,813 eligible to vote. The number of people who actually voted were 3,087. So in early voting, the one-stop voting, there was only a 9.7% turnout. And that was reflective throughout the entire district. Brian, I mean, with something as low as Onslow County had a one-stop turnout of, what am I seeing there, 3.13%. Currituck had 2.77 in one-stop voting. So really what was frustrating, the average was 7.17 across the entire district just in this one-stop, is the amount of voter apathy that we're seeing. What do you think?
But You're talking to the wrong person though.
Okay.
I am the guy. I never vote early unless I know I'm not going to be in town that day of election day. I've never. If you can look at anyone's voting record in the state of North Carolina. If
and
you
I
look
have.
at yes, I have too. I have too. But what I always do, I do not vote. If you look at my voter record, I voted in every election since I moved here. I voted one time in early voting. It was because I knew I was going to be out of town that Tuesday.
Right.
I'm the guy that wants to wait until the very last second. I want to see what happens. My fear is that something's going to happen to one of the candidates. You know, I mean, you end up voting for a candidate that, I don't know. And I'm not talking about in this race. I'm talking about in any race that ends up getting arrested for DWI or ends up, I don't know, just committing a crime or doing something that you wouldn't want that person in office to do. And I know that's one of those things that probably will never happen, but that's what I'm just telling you. That's the way. That's why I am the way I am. Is I won't vote in early voting unless I just absolutely.
You are a
to.
Traditionalist.
I am totally a In fact, remember what I told you as I walked in here about an hour ago. I voted at 7:10 p.m. It cut off at 7:30 or at 7:05. I was one of the last ones. Me and Dorian Edwards, a football coach over at Kinston High School and one of the great young men in our neck of the woods, he and I both walked in at the same time. We probably were the last two voters in our precinct.
Yeah. So one thing I will tell you that in looking at the early voting numbers, I just at a glance, Brian said, well, what numbers are in for Lenoir, Greene, or Jones? Just because even though you can't win one county in this election, you got to win the whole district. But
Absolutely.
I was just curious. Looks like all of the results for Jones are in right now. 100% set. Right.
Yes,
right. Jennifer
good
King.
job, Jennifer King.
Yeah. They do a good job over there in Jones County, and in fact, last time I saw you was actually in Jones County with County Manager Frankie Howard and Sheriff Danny Heath, and I will tell you that. In fact, that was so funny. Brandon Potter and I saved a couple turtles on the way home.
I love that video.
I'm always
That
going to have
hilarious.
very positive thoughts on Jones County, but 7 precincts out of 7 have reported. It looks like they had roughly 1,800 votes almost, and Dr. Greg Murphy came away with the win. He had about 58% of the vote there. Alan Thomas with about 42% of the vote in Jones County. Again, just in Jones County, and we'll see how that reflects throughout the night. But all of Jones County numbers are in, and we're going to wait and see what happens in Lenoir and Greene County. And one of the larger counties in this district, of course, was Onslow. I mean, they're the largest by 40,000 eligible voters, so that will be a big sign of the night.
Well, let's put a wrap on Jones County. 2 observations jump out to me. Number one, nearly 26% of voters turned out in Jones County. And, you were talking earlier, we were really disappointed that in early voting only 7% turned out. Listen, props to Jones County. 25.76% of all eligible voters in Jones County turned out to vote, so congratulations to them. And then the second part is, what were we just saying? The early results coming in was 57 to 41. That is exactly the breakdown in Jones County. Greg Murphy was 57% of the vote. Alan Thomas was 41% of the vote. So it looks like Jones County might be early on a harbinger of things to come.
That is interesting
this
because
election.
in the one-stop turnout, Jones was right at 5%, which means that they had 20% of the ballots cast. They had 20% more ballots cast today, or add the 20% to it. So, I mean, the vast majority of their voting was like a Brian Hanks there in Jones County. So it remains to be seen what happens in some of these larger districts. Also want to make sure that – go ahead.
Well, let me interrupt you. I think Dr. Town has updated our results if you want to go ahead and hit that.
Yeah, sure. It looks like 71 of 236 precincts are in. Looks like I want to make sure that's right because the numbers just flipped on me.
It does. I believe that's right. I'm looking at it here on the site.
Okay, because the numbers just flipped. It was a big flip. I just want to double check it.
Well, it's actually Greg Murphy's actually up to 58% of. We're now up to 83 precincts reporting.
Yeah.
So we'll have that updated here in a moment. But it's still following about that trend, 57, 58 to 41 right now.
Right. And I think one of the things that was confusing is that we wanted to make sure that our ballot on the bottom of the screen was the exact same as you saw on the ballot, but it looks like the results online are they flip a couple of the candidates. But I want to make sure also that if you haven't already, thank everybody for jumping on. I'm seeing a bunch of names, Commissioner April Aycock in Jones County. Thank you so much. Yeah, Jennifer King is awesome. I see Hardy Creech with Reload Drugs. Thank you for jumping on. Catherine Hardy joined. She sent us a message a while ago. Hey, should I still come by? I said, sure, come on by. In fact, Alita, will you send Catherine a message and say if she hadn't hearing this now? Catherine Hardy, yeah, tell her to come on by. We'd love to have her jump in. I know she spoke to a couple candidates today already, so maybe she can kind of give us a little insight on how they were doing. I see a gentleman by the name of Buster Murphy. I see he
legend. Aletha and I will tell you that man is the legend. We love us some Buster Murphy.
Okay. It looks like so. It looks like I see that note, Aletha. It looks like Dr. Murphy is up 58% to 41%, 83 of 236 precincts. And I will tell you that I went to look at Onslow, but that looks like it's becoming. We get a little bit more, Brian. That's going to look like it's just going to be inevitable that Dr. Murphy's going to pull away with this win. So we'll see what happens as the evening unfolds. I saw that. So, hey, look, if you haven't already, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. It is a daily in your inbox, 7 o'clock, and it's all the latest headlines for News. All the top headlines from sports to crime to politics to classified ads, you name it, it is all there. Just go to newsnews.com and just /subscribe, and you can see all the top headlines right then and there. So, Travis, if you don't mind, while we get this latest update, let's thank a couple of our sponsors real quick.
Today's broadcast is sponsored in part by Decks & More, owned by Tony Moore. Tony and his Decks & More team specialize in commercial reconstruction and repair, as well as decks and custom wood projects. Their motto is, with one call, we can fix it all. Give Tony Moore a call today at 252-526-8692 or visit him online at decksandmore.com. That's 252-526-8692. And tell Tony News sent you. Our election coverage is sponsored in part by Matrix East. Matrix East has 3 licensed surveyors on staff completing surveys for residential and commercial customers across the state. Owned and operated by John C. Nix, PLS, and Chris Patrick, PLS, they've been in business since 2001, completing large and small construction projects. Give Matrix East a call at 252-522-2500 and tell them News sent you.
Which picture gets more views, likes, and shares?
And we crossed the finish line together and we're able to show really meaningful results.
Well, my name is Chris Suggs, and I'm an 18-year-old student, nonprofit CEO, and entrepreneur.
It's sports time.
And first pitches at 1 that day. Go Woodies!
Hey, welcome back to everybody. We have a guest that she did not know she was going to be jumping on. This is the Catherine Hardy, ladies and gentlemen.
No. Instructor Catherine Hardy.
Instructor Catherine Hardy. Welcome to the team again. Catherine has been no stranger to the political coverage here in Eastern North Carolina. Catherine, what are you hearing a little bit on the ground? I know you've had a chance over time to interview or talk with some of the candidates. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I think special elections are always tricky. You know, it's almost impossible to accurately predict what the turnout is going to be like in a special election, especially a special election That is the third, there have been three, this is now the third special election, so I know that candidates worry about voter fatigue, how many people are going to turn out, the effects of the storm on the early voting, whether that affected turnout. But, I think at the end of the day, things are not looking like they're going to turn out to be that different from kind of the normal results for this district, the way has leaned in the past. So it looks like, as far as special elections go, this one is turning out to be not too crazy.
And what's interesting, Brian and Catherine, is that I know we're going to have some results here tonight in just a few minutes, actually, but this race has only just begun because they're going to be sworn in for 3 or 4 months and have to refile for the same spot.
Right. And especially because it did end up getting pushed to this later election date because of the primary runoff. This is, they're going to own, whoever serves is going to be there for slightly more than a year and then have to do it. Well, they'll have to start campaigning again right. almost as soon as they get there.
Right.
But yeah, so I hope that the winner is not too tired of the campaigning, because they're going to be getting to do it all over again.
And the truth is that also goes to the person who loses this evening, to the 3 candidates that lose. There's a real possibility you'll see some of these same names again in like you said, in less than a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we've got some municipal races coming up, Brian. Election Day is Tuesday, November the 5th. Early voting starts October 16th through November 1st. I know that's for most counties, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Just double checking Greene. And it looks like that is pretty much for everybody, Greene, Lenoir, and Jones. So like in Lenoir County, where's my note on that? I was going to see that real quick. So here's in Greene County, you've got 2 people running for sanitary district. There's only two seats open. For one that's competitive, you got the Snow Hill Town Commissioner. There are 4 people running, and there are 2 seats available. The Walstenburg Town Commissioner, I actually forgot to look that up on that list. I'll come back to that. For Kinston City Council, there are 4 people running, and there are 3 seats available. For LaGrange Town Mayor, there are 2 people running, and one person can take that, of course. LaGrange Board of Commissioners, 5 candidates for 3 seats. And it looks like if I'm not mistaken, in Jones County, we double checked this, Brian, that every race in Jones County is pretty much, there's 3 candidates for Pollocksville Commissioner, there's 3 seats. Town Trenton Mayor, Miss Spivey, who I've gotten to know fairly well, she's a great lady. Town of Trenton looks like there's 3 seats available, 3 candidates, and so it looks like everything is uncontested. So I'll double check.
We want to thank Frankie Howard for that.
Right.
As we were getting ready to come on the air, we hit him up and he gave us that information. So thank you so much to Jones County Manager Frankie Howard.
Let's throw up these results. I know with 98 precincts reporting in, Alan Thomas at 40%, Greg Murphy at 58%, Tim Harris at 0.32, and Greg Holt at 0.42. Brian, I don't see any way that the former mayor of Greenville and GTP Executive Director Alan Thomas is able to come back. I mean, this is a lot of votes, even though there's so many precincts still out there, including Onslow County, which is the largest. As of right now, just glancing at this, I just don't see how he can come back from an 18-point difference with 98%.
Exactly, and it's not even the points. Let's look at votes. The raw vote totals right now, Greg Murphy is almost at 40,000. He has 39,868. Alan Thomas has 27,463. So you're talking about just raw votes with not, with 60% of the votes remaining.
Right.
He's up by 12,000, almost 13,000. So it's going to be awfully hard. I mean, it would be Alan Thomas having to almost sweep entire precincts for him to take that.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely at this point. And then we do know that all of Greene County results are in, and it looks like Dr. Greg Murphy ran away with this one as well. 59% to Alan Thomas's 40%. So 100%, 10 out of 10 precincts reporting there in Greene County. So we know all of Jones, all of Greene so far, and it looks like all of those precincts are in. I just want to double check Lenoir. Looks like there are some of the early voting numbers are in, but none of the precincts have reported as of this moment.
I know you wanted to. You were bragging about him before we came on the air. You got to give Trey Cash some love over in Greene County for the great job he does.
Yeah, he have you met Trey or you talked to him?
I've talked to him on the phone, but I don't think I've met him in person.
And he's been in our studio. He has done phenomenal. I mean, he sent us a Google Sheet link today of everybody. Look at this. I mean, I know y'all can't see it, but everybody who had registered and at what time, who voted. So he would send us a Google Sheet, and it was real time information of the actual number of people who voted. Not the results, you can't know that, but the number of people. We were getting that number in real time. Usually that's the kind of thing you have to call in and say, how many people voted at 10 o'clock? How many people voted at 12 or 2? And I was
Trey
pretty
Cash.
impressed.
It's very Catherine Hardy-ish right there. I could see you putting something together like that. But again, Trey Cash is the man in Greene County. Thank you so much for sending BJ that.
I wanted to thank a couple of our sponsors as we get some of the last results in. As before, I'm really interested in what happens in Onslow. Although with 10,000 votes difference, I don't see how Mayor Thomas is able to come back against Dr. Murphy. But King's Restaurant has been providing world-famous chicken and barbecue since 1936. In fact, my family had an 80th birthday party for one of my aunts recently, and we held it at King's. I mean, where else, right? And King's has a reputation for serving the finest Eastern NC style barbecue and Southern food, and it's a perfect spot for lunch or dinner, whether you want a buffet or selections from their menu. And they actually have several locations, as Brian mentioned earlier, to serve you or to cater your event. Be sure to go check out, somebody write this in the notes, kingsbbq.com, and be sure to tell them that Noose News sent you. Again, that's kingsbbq.com.
Absolutely. We want to thank Senator Jim Perry also for sponsoring this broadcast tonight. Again, we could not be doing this without King's Barbecue. We couldn't do it without Senator Jim Perry tonight. He is a native of Lenoir County. He also graduated from South Lenoir High School, and he's a great American. How about that? He serves, this is what he says, he serves because he wants to help the people of the East. Contact him at jimperrync.com or check out his Facebook page. You can also, he's out and about everywhere. I mean, that's one of the things I've noticed. You can't go anywhere in Lenoir County without him or, well, Chris Humphrey being out there too. But Senator Jim Perry, thank you so much for your service. And again, check out his site at jimperrync.com.
And we have less than 30 days from the social media summit, SM3 Summit. It's going to be right here in our backyard. If you own a business and you have heard of this thing called, I don't know, social media.
What is that?
Social media. So it's like,
any idea?
It's like, no, it's like, I heard Ryan Vernon the other day, it was like InstaSnap or Twittergram. If you've heard of social media and you know there's this really cool free tool, but you haven't quite figured out how to use it for your business, or you're somebody who wants to start a business, or you lead an organization, a nonprofit, you're in marketing world, everybody has a role in sales, whether you believe it or not. And we're going to talk about social media as a deep dive of how to go viral, how to sell to the next generation. Learn from some of our locals who've been doing big things when it comes to social media and getting their marketing message out. And if you go in a grocery store and you own a business and you're the face of that business and no one knows you, then social media is one of those tools that you can use to market your business, market your brand. And on October 5th, we're going to have leaders in social media from across the state. Go to sm3summit.com. Get registered today. Register your team. That's sm3summit.com.
And just again, to piggyback what he just said, you definitely want to come to this. If you are active, if you have a business in Lenoir County or in Eastern North Carolina, you definitely want to be a part of this. Again, you got to brag on some of those names that you've got coming. Chris Sugg, Seraphim Smith, Alexa Kay.
Oh, we got a friend of mine, Algernon Cash. He's raised over $250 million in capital for projects in the Triad area. He's a dear friend of mine, and he is going to talk about telling your story. He's an entrepreneur. He's bought a franchise called Zestos. It's burgers and ice cream, and it's kind of a retro theme. And he has got a pilot right there in Winston-Salem, and he's doing big things. He's going to come speak. Another good friend of mine, Bill Stovall. He's sold millions of dollars worth of a company called Legal Shield, a company I used to work with, and he knows how to train people. I've seen him train over 2,000 people at one time for 8 hours straight, and he's going to speak. And we've got those type of caliber of people who understand business and people. So it's going to be a great time.
Where is it they need to go to register for that?
SM3summit.com, SM3summit.com. Do we have an update on some of the elections results? 107 precincts are in. Same number, 58% to 40% for Murphy over Thomas. Just a little over 100 more precincts to go. But I'm just going to tell you that I don't see any way that this significantly changes, because those numbers since the onset, since the very first time we threw those numbers up, they have not changed, and we've had over 100 precincts representing thousands of votes come in. So I don't see how that changes at all tonight.
I can agree with that. I was really hoping we would see some Lenoir County results. We have all of Jones County in, all of Greene County, and we're still reporting 0 of 22 for Lenoir County precincts, and that's got to change. I mean, we've got to. We're behind everybody else, especially in our little neck of the woods right here. I would love to start seeing some results, as we're now well over an hour past the election.
And I know some national media outlets have already called this race for Dr. Murphy, and quite honestly, at no surprise, giving the current state of the race, 112 precincts in. Now another 5 since we last mentioned it just 2 minutes ago. The numbers are still the same, so I really don't see that changing at all. But come less than 2 months from now, Brian, we're going to be doing this same mechanism all over again with municipal races, and somebody who's run in 4 municipal races.
You did?
Can you believe it? I'm 20 years old. I've run 4 times. The politics really is local.
It totally
What
is.
happens in your backyard matters. The property taxes on your car and your houses. I mean, you own some real estate, Catherine. It matters, doesn't it?
It matters a lot. And, and zoning decisions. And, there's the controversy over, will there be a 150-foot cell tower in the middle of downtown Kinston? That's a decision that's made by the city council. Those are the types of decisions that are made by people who are elected by the people in this, in this community. It's not somebody else who's making those decisions that affect people every single day.
We've just had a really good question come in that Jeremy Jacob Rogers asked. Who will be running against Greg Murphy in November? Actually, nobody will. That's a valid question.
I get it.
It can be confusing. We've gone through all this. Jeremy Jacob Rogers, he's actually, if Dr. Murphy wins, and I guess we're ready to project him as the winner, he is going to have this seat until November of
2020.
Thank you very much.
He will be running, presumably he would be running for re-election to the seat for a full term in the 2020 election. So he will take his seat and he will serve out the remainder of the term that Walter B. Jones was elected to last November, and he was not able to serve given that he passed away.
Absolutely.
So that's what
but you can understand how people would be confused by that.
We're talking about a November election.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he will be serving in that for, I guess, the next 14 months or so at minimum, and then if he runs for re-election.
Yeah, if he runs for re-election, which we can safely assume, I would guess, that he would, barring unforeseen circumstances, that he would choose to run for re-election to this seat as an incumbent.
Well, I'm going to make you put your analysts, both of you. I'm really the reporter here.
Right.
You guys are political analysts. I'm going to ask both of you. Do you foresee a primary challenger to Dr. Murphy, who, again, we're presuming is going to go ahead and win this? Do you see the Republican Party putting up or not the Republican Party, but people within the Republican Party challenging him for his seat? And I'll start with you, BJ.
My assumption would be yes, and I think you're right when you rephrase that. It wouldn't be the party, but the individuals. But just to see Republicans challenging the president, or how Republicans filed against McCrory for governor, I would not be surprised, because people who think they have value and they have the resources and the time and the desire to run for office, even though they're up against incredible odds, Tim Murphy and Greg Holt are examples, they will still run, in my opinion. But my suspicion is it will probably one or two of the 17 people that ran against in this race already.
There won't be 17 though, right?
No, I doubt it. But we do have breaking news. We are ready to call this race for Dr. Greg Murphy. We will stay with this because it is imperative that we give all the results the most as we possibly can. But we are confident in saying that Dr. Greg Murphy will win the U.S. 3rd District race based on the numbers we've been watching for roughly the past 40 minutes or so. I don't see a major change in that, Brian, but I do want to make sure you get back to her question, but we are willing to call that. But stay with us because we will continue to give updates, especially as we learn more about Onslow and even in Lenoir.
Yeah, because we really want to know how people in our backyard here voted. We're still at 0 of 22 precincts. But the question to you, do you see a primary challenge to Dr. Murphy?
I would say yes, simply because House seats with an incumbent who's possibly vulnerable are very rare. You saw that there was an incredible, pent up kind of demand, people who felt like they would be able to serve in this capacity.
You mean 17 candidates?
17 candidates. And,
that was just in the Republican side.
And I say that because there had been a primary challenger a couple of times against Walter Jones, but only one, and it was not, it didn't even come close to being successful. And so obviously he had been serving in that seat for a very long time, which meant a lot of people who might have had ambitions in that direction looked at the odds and said, there's no way I'm going to be able to unseat someone who's been in Congress that long, who's got the political clout, who's got the number, serves on the committees. And so I think some people are going to say this, Greg Murphy, he's only got a year under his belt. He doesn't have the seniority. You might still be able to take a shot at him while he's doesn't have the advantage of years and years of incumbency.
Good point.
Absolutely. I tell you, one of the things Letha Thrower and Dr. Travis Town are behind the scenes back here, and they're doing a great job of keeping you guys updated as we're doing this too. We encourage your questions. I mean, this is a good time. If you have questions, we want to answer them. And Jeremy Jacob Rogers asked another good question. He said, so what are we going to be voting on in November this year? I know you already talked about that at one point, but we've had new viewers that are coming in.
Right.
Would you like to hit that one?
So basically, there are municipal races in, for example, in Jones County, the town of Pollocksville has 3 commissioners up. There are 3 candidates. The town of Trenton has a mayor up. There's only 1 candidate. The town of Trenton has 3 candidates for 3 seats for commissioners. I forgot to check on that Walstenburg one. Sorry. In fact, I'll pull it up while I'm here. There it is. And for Greene County, the Maury Sanitary Land District Board member, there are 2 seats, 2 people running. Hookerton Mayor, 1 person running. Hookerton Town Commissioner, 2 seats, 2 people running. Snow Hill Town Commissioner's got a race there, 4 people running for 2 seats. And Walstenburg Mayor has 1 person running. Also, Walstenburg Commissioner, there are 5 seats available and 5 candidates for that. And in Lenoir County, there are 4 people running for 3 seats on the Kinston City Council. For LaGrange Mayor, there are 2 people running for one seat, obviously. And Town LaGrange, there are 5 people running for 3 seats. Town of Pink Hill, mayor seat, only 1 person running. And Town of Pink Hill Board of Commissioners, 1 seat open and 1 person running. So this is truly the election year for municipal elections. The reason why we're having this third night of election night coverage this year has to do with the passing of the late Walter Jones and the need, based on our Constitution, to fill that void in Congress, not just in the 3rd district, also the 9th, but that was due to another reason for that person or for that race happening again. So this in the 2 months we will have municipal races, and I did see that we had a question from Joseph Noble as well.
We did. He asked. Let me find it here. What is the cause of our inability to have results posted? I will say this. There are 5 precincts. They've got 5 precincts in now in Lenoir County, and it is a ridiculously close race right now. It's only separated by 38 votes in Lenoir County. Of course, this isn't in the grand scheme of things. We've already declared Dr. Murphy, but Dr. Murphy leads Alan Thomas 1964 to 1926, which is about as close percentage-wise as you can get. 50.04% for Greg Murphy and then 49.07% for Alan Thomas, but that's with only 5 of 22 precincts that are reporting in for that. But to answer Joseph's question, I don't know. I mean, I know, I've been covering elections now since 2006, 2008, and it does seem to be a recurring theme when you look. And I know Jones County is much smaller. You combine Jones County and Greene County together, they still don't have half the population that Lenoir County has, so I'll give you that. But then you look at Pitt County and you look at Onslow, and they are traditionally always faster than us too.
Pitt County, 100% of Pitt County is in, because we did have a question about that, but keep going.
But I think some of it has to do with equipment, and it's just something that really needs to be addressed. I believe if, I know they work hard down there. We respect and we admire everybody that's down at the Board of Elections.
Right.
They do a great job. But if it's equipment, if that's the case, then it needs to be dealt with. If they need to replace some people because they're not living up to standards or whatever, I mean, you would do that here if you need to do it at News and most businesses, then you have to do that. But it is frustrating. I can understand. I've heard it for how many elections in a row now. Why can't Lenoir County keep up with other counties?
Well, and I will tell you, sorry to cut you off, Catherine, that I've been watching a show called The Profit a lot. It's a guy named Marcus Lemonis, and he's invested in hundreds of businesses across the country. And his big 3 things are people, product, and process. So anytime he goes to look in to see if he can save a business or help a business or make things better, he's always looking at those 3 things. And I will tell you that we got some really great people at the Board of Elections here, good friends with
and they work hard.
Yes, I mean there's no doubt. And then there's the product. I mean, you're right, the equipment and those kind of things. And then there's the process, what processes are in place. And I think it's worth looking at that, not just for them, but for everybody, even our own business, even our own finances. I mean, I think those are just good things to do and some self-reflecting.
I was just going to say, I believe I'm correct in saying, I could be misremembering this, but back when I was covering the county budget process for this year, I believe that there was some discussion about funds in the budget for new voting machines for Lenoir County. And I believe that's one of the expenses that was in the budget for this fiscal year, or at least it was. I think I remember that correctly.
I think you're right. I remember reading
so
that.
I think that is something that's going to be being addressed in this fiscal year, is the voting machines, which are out of date and need to be replaced. And I think there are funds in the budget.
Well, I don't want Catherine to leave us, but I do want her to see if she can get a hold of the winning candidate. So if you don't mind, see if you can reach out. I know you had some text messaging with Dr. Murphy.
Make a phone call. I'll see if he's got.
It'd be great if he can do a dial-in. If not, at least give us a quote so we can have that ready for tomorrow. I think it would be great. But there was a question earlier about Pitt County. And Travis, get ready, because I want to thank a couple sponsors through those videos here in a second, because I want to get to something else. But in Pitt County, the question was there, and that's a good question because of Pitt County, because both of the leading candidates are from Pitt County. Dr. Greg Murphy won Pitt County 61% to 39%. Yeah. I mean, just a huge difference. I mean, 4,000 vote difference there in Pitt County. So if that was any indication, 23 precincts there, all 23 reported, over 18,000 votes cast there. If that's any indication of what was going to happen, Alan Thomas, very well-liked former mayor of Greenville, versus Dr. Greg Murphy, a well-liked doctor in Pitt County. But you see the numbers just don't lie, 61 to 39 there.
That tells you what you need to know right there.
Yep, I know that was a question. And we got some more questions we're going to get to in just a few moments. But stick with us. We'll be right back.
Today's broadcast is sponsored in part by Decks & More, owned by Tony Moore. Tony and his Decks & More team specialize in commercial reconstruction and repair, as well as decks and custom wood projects. Their motto is, with one call, we can fix it all. Give Tony Moore a call today at 252-526-8692 or visit him online at decksandmore.com. That's 252-526-8692. And tell Tony New Snooze sent you. Our election coverage is sponsored in part by Matrix East. Matrix East has 3 licensed surveyors on staff completing surveys for residential and commercial customers across the state. Owned and operated by John C. Nix, PLS, and Chris Patrick, PLS, they've been in business since 2001, completing large and small construction projects. Give Matrix East a call at 252-522-2500 and tell them New Snooze sent you.
Which picture gets more views, likes, and shares?
And we crossed the finish line together and we're able to show really meaningful results.
My name is Chris Suggs, and I'm an 18-year-old student, nonprofit CEO, and entrepreneur.
It's sports time.
And first pitches at 1 that day. Go Woodies.
Welcome back to our special election coverage of the District 3 race. We could not be doing this tonight, BJ, if we did not have some awesome sponsors. Want to thank King's Restaurant. They've been providing world-famous barbecue and chicken since 1936. They have a reputation for serving the finest Eastern North Carolina-style barbecue and Southern food. It's a perfect spot for lunch or dinner, whether you want a buffet or selections from their vast menu. King's Restaurant has several locations to serve you, and they'd love to cater your event. Go to www.kingsbbq.com and tell them New Snooze sent you. Again, that's kingsbbq.com.
And also a special thank you to Senator Jim Perry for helping to sponsor tonight's broadcast. Senator Perry, Jim Perry, is a native of Lenoir County, a graduate of South Lenoir High School and Lenoir Community College. Senator Perry serves because he wants to help the people of the East. Contact him at jimperrync.com, or you just find him on Facebook. See if somebody can tag Senator Jim Perry. We did that already good. And again, that's jimperrync.com. Thank you so much, Senator Jim Perry. And also a big thank you to Matrix East and to Dexter Moore. Tony and his team at Dexter Moore have done some work at my house a couple of times, been a big help for us. And we've known John Nix and Chris Patrick with the Matrix East team for a long time, heavily involved in the political scene for a long time. And we just want to say thank you to them for allowing us to bring this broadcast to you tonight. And I want to say thank you to the people who are still watching. We've already called this race, but some of you really want to know what's happening in Lenoir County. Maybe you're interested in just seeing Brian's pretty face. I don't really know what it is, but we want to say thank you so much. And you know what? We did something a little over a year ago, Brian, about a year ago this month, to help just people engage with each other, and that was we created a Facebook group called We Report New Snooze. It's wereportnewsnews.com, and the whole purpose of that was, Brian, you might be trying to get to Jones County, but there might be something wrong with the road here, or somebody in Pink Hill may be trying to get to Kinston, or you might need some donations for hurricane relief efforts. The whole idea was to allow neighbors to communicate with neighbors in a safe place that we moderate. I mean, it's not a news driver for us. Occasionally there's a tip, and we always are thankful for that. We love getting those tips. But the whole purpose is a safe place for neighbors to engage with neighbors. Please go check out wereportnewsnews.com.
And that was another one of your babies coming out of Hurricane Florence. In fact, I think going into Hurricane Florence is when you set that up, and just what a great place, like you said, for neighbors to get on there. If you want to, I'll tell you this, I'm on there because if I know that I'm driving to Raleigh or if I'm driving to New Bern, I'll jump on there and see, are there any traffic jams between here and there? Is there somewhere I need to go around?
Right.
because I'll tell you what, just so blessed to have, what are there, 3,000,
4,000 now. We've got
4,000 people
members
that are members of the We Report News family. Thank you guys so much for being a part of that.
And it's also a place where if you're a nonprofit, it gives you a chance to promote something you're doing. And when you join, you go to WeReportNewsNews.com. We've got to approve you. But the whole reason for that is we want to make sure you read the rules. And one of the rules is if you're a for-profit business, you can be a member, but not there to promote your business, right? It is designed to help neighbors engage neighbors. If you're a business and you want to promote yourself, how about you give News a call and advertise with us? We would love to partner with you to whatever that message is you're trying to get out there. And we've got a number of different mediums from video to our newsletter, which we've got over 4,000, almost 4,200 subscribers to, who get that every single day now, and it's free. Our newsnews.com, our website, Brian, we get close to 80,000 unique visitors every month just to our website. And we've said it before, we're running on a shoestring budget. We're not getting filthy rich on this thing. We are just trying to provide a service to you so that you can enjoy the backyard news like your grandparents enjoyed. You remember they'd get the robe on, the cup of coffee in hand, the dog goes out to the mailbox, picks up the newspaper, brings it back. That's the kind of, we want to bring back that in journalism in our own backyard.
Absolutely. So please, again, like VJ said, if you would like to support News, that would be awesome. That's the best way to do it. You can give him a call here, or you can message him. What would be the number they would call?
252-572-1330. And look, Travis is going, why did he tell me this? I want this number. This 252-572-1330. You can also just send an email to info@newsnews.com. That's info@newsnews.com. There are plenty of ways you can advertise with us, and we just want to say a big thank you to all of our advertisers, the newsletter, the website, sponsoring these shows. It is what makes this work.
I know we've got a big social media summit coming up.
Right.
I've heard a little bit about it. Isn't it called like the SM3 Summit? Tell us a little bit about that, BJ.
SM3. The whole idea, Brian, was, look, when I started Mad Mile Media, and you were part of those conversations, almost 3 years ago, going, hey, I got this crazy idea, and we kind of hashed it out. What I've seen in the market is I've been very intentional and practical about how I go about social media. You should see my whiteboard on any day. There's notes all over the place thinking about how social media works. But what I keep finding in the market is that I don't have enough people, talent, young, old, indifferent to me, who can get behind the camera, who can get in front of the camera, who we can trust to do certain things, whether that's for social media or live streaming technology. And so if you're thinking about that from a marketing standpoint, we need more talent in the marketplace. But your business, your organization that's trying to raise money, your school, you name it, you need to have a solid presence on social media. And the SM3 Summit is all about that. It is only $100 to attend this thing through the end of the month. And we got speakers from across the state. We're paying for their travel to get here, because these are people that you need to hear, and they're going to run the gamut on going how to break down a video to make sure it goes viral, to how to tell your brand story so you attract more people so you can sell more stuff or get more donors. And so whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit entity, an entrepreneur or startup, a marketing professional for a large company, if you just want to learn more about social media, go to sm3summit.com. That's sm3summit.com. Get registered today. Brian, we do have limited seating because we're holding it at the Art Center. There's only so many people that can go to this thing, and we've already got a bunch of registrations, so you need to go ahead and lock that registration in now.
And again, just some of the names that you have coming in to me. See, all that sounds fine and good, and that is, you're going to get some valuable information. I know that, but the names, the people you have that are going to be presenting during the summit, they include, again, Chris Sugg, Alexa Kay from the Wood Ducks, Seraphim Smith from Pride of Kinston, Mallory
Kennedy from Lenore Community College,
who does
incredible,
a great job
yes,
over there.
Incredible work. You think of the social media, she put together a really cool graduation video And Seraphim, he cut his teeth with Chef and the Farmer, and is helping at Pride of Kinston. And that's just a locals panel. We're going to learn about sales and telling your story, how to go viral, how to market to the next generation. And we're also going to break for lunch and break for lunch downtown Kinston, so people kind of get to experience our community and get back in the swing of things. We've got a brief update for you on. We've already projected Dr. Greg Murphy is going to as winning this race, but as of right now, 155 precincts have come in out of 236. Democrat Alan Thomas at 39%. Republican Dr. Greg Murphy at 59%. And Libertarian candidate Tim Harris at 0.33%, and Constitutionalist Greg Holt at 0.43% of the vote. And did we get any more information on Lenoir by chance?
I'm actually refreshing that right now. Nope, we're still at 5 of 22 precincts reporting there.
And I was just curious about, I was looking for a question here, make sure we didn't work. I see Tony Moore. Thank you, Tony. I see you watching. I appreciate that. And I saw you plug the Dexter Moore. Hopefully we already did that too. So it's been plugged in there several times. Thank you so much for your help, Tony. Leon Steele, thank you so much for joining. He is the downtown executive director of Pride of Kinston, a position I held, Brian, almost over a decade ago. I mean, gosh, it's amazing.
That's back when you were young, when you didn't have any gray up here.
Yeah, my kids pick on me because I got gray hair now. I see Renee Banks out of Jones County. Thank you so much for watching. John Nix, you're right. Roll Call has called it, as well as many national news outlets. We've called it as well for Dr. Greg Murphy, but appreciate everybody staying with us. Thank you, Miss Yvonne Jones, for South Side of the county. I love it. Appreciate you jumping on. Bill Ellis.
The legend, Bill Ellis.
Right.
I've been here since 2002, and there are a handful of people who've really made a difference in the community. Mm-hmm. You're one of them. I'm not sucking up to you, one of them, but I'm telling you, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that's made more of a difference in this community than Bill Ellis. I admire him. I'm not ashamed to say I love the man. For what he has done for this community, he is an amazing icon.
Right. No, he definitely is. Heath Harrison, thank you so much for jumping on. Jeremy Rogers, thank you so much for your questions tonight. I saw Jock Passelet, thank you so much for jumping on. Carletta Hill, thank you so much. I really appreciate. And look, if you look through some of the comments, some people have these badges like top fan or something like that. Look, that's because they've really engaged with our page, and I love that Facebook does that. And so thank you to the people who are constantly commenting, who've shared this broadcast, who are commenting, who are making sure other people join on, because that's what makes this work. So really appreciate you doing that. See Pastor Jackie Elwert, thank you so much for jumping on. And I'm pretty sure I have missed a lot of people.
You have. We've had, I think at one time we had about 110 watching live, and that was before we declared it and before other sources had declared it too. I do want to, before we get out of here, give some love to Junius Smith III for we're going to be, I know we had last week off. You lent me to Lenoir County and to Jones County last week to be the public information officer, so I guess this means officially I'm back on duty.
You're back on the clock.
Okay, I'm back on the clock. There you go. But want to remind you that tomorrow, we had last week off, but tomorrow at 4:30, we're going to have the Noose News Sports Show on. Right. We're going to have a special guest. I don't know who that is yet, but we're going to have a special guest on. We're going to talk about all the football games that'll be played this coming Friday night, and we're going to catch you up. And poor Junius is going to have the job of, for the last week and a half, these 9,000 games that have been played, and we're going to have a complete schedule for you of all the games. So in a one-stop shop, you'll be able to see these are the games that are going to be played over the next week, and have 2 weeks to make up for the games we missed during Dorian.
Yeah, because like this Friday night, all 5 of our high schools here just in Lenoir County are playing games, and I believe we are going to cover every single game, if I'm not mistaken, or every game that's playing in our backyard this Friday. I know we're going to be covering. I've
got it right here. In fact, all 5 in Lenoir County are we're going to be covering them. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville is at Kinston, a huge showdown there. Their quarterback is back. North Lenoir is at Southern Wayne. South Lenoir is at Princeton. I know Rudy Coggins is covering that game for us. Raleigh St. David's is at Parrott, and I got to tell you, our Parrott Academy fans, you really want to be at that game, they're going to be giving away the state. Shiver Person, the head soccer coach, told me they're going to be giving the state championship rings to the soccer team that won the state championship. So you're going to want to be there at Parrott Academy, not just for a great game against St. David's, who is really awesome. Bethel coming off a 72-0 win.
That was a huge win
on Monday.
I asked Junius today, were you expecting it? And he said, yeah. But I wouldn't know any better. But wow, what a team victory there.
Absolutely. But they'll be hosting Northeast Hobgood. And Junius has done a great job. All 5 of those Lenore County games will be covered by people right here in this office. Then the other games in our area, Eastern Wayne is at Greene Central. Aiden Grifton is at Farmville Central. And then finally, Union is at Jones Senior. So 8 games this coming Friday night. And again, if you want to see all of Junius Smith III's analysis on those games, the predictions that he and I make, and just everything else we do, be sure to join us at 4:30 on Wednesday right here on our New Snooze Facebook page.
Yeah, and it's great because I'm a guy who loves sports, but I don't and I follow NFL and college football, but not enough that I could be an analyst. So to sit here and watch you guys and Junius without any notes just tell you any player.
I am so glad you brought. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm so
it's
glad
just
you brought
amazing.
that up. He blows my mind. I'm 50 years old, and you see
say that again.
Anyway, but you see what I do. I mean, I have to have my notes in front of me. I have to have everything. That son of a gun, he'll just quote things to you, and he's accurate. He's like 99.8% accurate on everything that he quotes, and a great job. But again, 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, right here on the New Snooze Facebook page. Myself and Junius Smith III for the New Snooze Sports Show.
And I know that there's we had a great opportunity last December to really test these live streaming skills. And we had a really cool opportunity, Brian. Me, you, and Martha Bishop were in front of the camera on the mics with the headsets, and we had an opportunity to broadcast live to 19 states the Kinston Christmas Parade. And it's my understanding that this year's parade is going to be at night, which means the theme of like lighting up downtown is going to be bigger and better than ever, because I know Leon and the team, his board, have been pushing hard to have more lights in downtown. The street's going to be done in the next couple of weeks. Queen Street is. There's going to be a lot of lights, and New Snooze will be bringing that to you. I was going to check the date real quick just so you can mark it in your calendar in December. Let's see. It is my date said December 7th, but can someone please?
Well, Leon Steele is online with us right now. Leon, if you will, put that date of the Christmas parade on there. But Danny Spence, don't even look at the screen because I want you. I'm
reading a comment about District 9 race, too close to call right now. Dan Bishop, Republican versus Dan McCready. This has gotten a lot of national headlines. I see John Nix making that comment. And anyway, that's interesting. That's been too close to call. That was challenged,
December
which is
7th.
The reason why their December 7th is the Christmas parade. But that U.S. District 9 race was challenged, which is why they're doing it again. The governor had to call for this special election again.
I'm assuming we're getting ready to wrap this up, but Denny Spence, thank you, Denny, has asked a great question here that I got to tell you, this is not an exaggeration. I am asked this question easily twice a week when I'm out and about. BJ Murphy, are you going to run again for any office? I am asked that, and I'm not. And again, I had no idea Denny was going to ask that question, but I'm telling you, I am at everywhere I go. We were at the same event last night. Someone asked me that question about you, and you're across the way from us, and they ask, is BJ ever going to run for office again? So this is a good time. For you 48 people who are still watching, take it away, BJ.
Travis, are you ready to cut the feed? See, Dr. Greg Murphy wins. Night over. Good job. So I appreciate that question, and I do get that question at the grocery store and at church a lot. It's really flattering. One of the greatest honors of my life was serving as mayor, serving a town that I grew up in and I love tremendously. It has also been a lot of fun for me, even though I did not want the break from politics, to actually have that break. And without losing that race, I doubt we have New Snooze. Yeah. And that is the cold hard facts. And so the idea that I would step away right at this moment to do something different doesn't make a lot of sense. We've got a lot of work to do with News to provide the coverage that we think needs to happen. But is it in my future? Possibly. To what race? I don't know. But what's also been a lot of fun for me is I've been able to scratch the itch of being engaged in politics, but not actually have to be in politics.
They're having way too much fun back there.
What do they do?
Town and you're sitting here making your announcement, and they're putting breaking news up on the screen.
There is no announcement.
So,
yeah, but the summarize is I'm enjoying the time with the family. I'm enjoying time with our incredible team. And I mean, there's so many members of our team that I can't even begin to thank. I mean, Bud, I shouldn't even start it. But
you're going to leave somebody out.
Of course I am.
We got
a lot of great members of our team. I'm having a lot of fun. Is it in my future? Possibly. When? I don't know. But I am enjoying it. But the way that you can thank me the most or support me the most is to advertise with News or to join our newsletter or share something like this video. All the little things like that go a long way.
Well, I tell you what, I can think we are on the verge of wrapping this up. We will say this, 12 of 22 precincts in now for Lenoir County, and Greg Murphy has taken a big lead there. I guess some precincts came in that have really helped him out a lot. It's now up to 53 to 45% in favor. I guess 53 to 46% in favor of Greg Murphy, and I think we can go ahead and call that. Greg Murphy's also going to take Lenoir County too.
Yeah, and I was just I glanced at the by precincts. Ones who are not in or like Institute or K1. Institute K1 are in. Contentnia, Fallen Creek are not. And Fallen Creek is a large precinct. K4 is a large precinct. That's Northwest School. K3 is Fairfield Park, not reported. K9 that's the First PH Church. Then Mossy has not reported. Sand Hill, Southwood, and it looks like Vance. So there's a couple large precincts, but you're right, Brian. It's still.
Well, you're going to take us out, I guess, but I've got to say this. There's just been a flurry of people. Aletha sees it. There's been a flurry of people telling you to run for something.
Is that right?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I told them the best way you can support me is advertise. No shame. I mean, the only way this works is if people advertise with us. So if you're supporting us, you want to support us, subscribe to our newsletter, go to the
which is free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go to SM3 Summit. It's $100. It'll be some of the best $100 you have ever spent in your life. Is that price to the end of this month? Then the price goes up. Join our newsletter. Share these videos. Advertise with us, Brian. That is what's going to make this work, and we'll see.
Very good.
Y'all leave me alone.
There you go. Let's throw some thank yous out there. Definitely want to thank Dr. Travis Town, the producer of tonight's broadcast. Want to thank the great Aletha Thrower. She's not just the associate producer of this. She is. What are all her titles? I know she runs the office. She
boss. It's capital
Boss.
BOSS,
yeah,
all
boss.
caps.
Yeah.
Her official title is Vice President of Operations. Yeah. So she does everything from management media, helping to manage clients, as well as on the news side, helping to garner the news, make sure people are in the right places at the right time, making sure information is put out on the web correctly. She does a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank her. Aletha, we love you. You're the best. Also want to thank our sponsors one more time: King's Restaurant, right. Senator Jim Perry,
right.
SM3 Summit, and
Matrix East, and Dexter Moore. Again, all fine folks and individuals. Please, one of the best ways you can say thank you for this broadcast is to actually go spend some money with them, or stop them in the grocery store and thank them and say, I really appreciate it. We heard you guys on News when Brian and BJ are up there cutting the fool. We heard you guys, and so we just want to say thanks to Senator Perry, Joe Hargett, Tony Moore, John Nix, and all the people behind the scenes there. Thank you to our entire team. We will have a full report by Catherine Hardy for you tomorrow morning's newsletter. She'll have some quotes, hopefully, and some additional information we weren't able to cover tonight. But thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. This was a fun again.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please continue to pray for the folks in the Bahamas and the Outer Banks. If you can help, please do. Also, tomorrow is 9/11 Patriots Day, and it gives us a chance to really pause and be thankful for the men and women who serve in our country, and also to remember that we are one of the most hated and feared countries on earth. And just want to say a special prayer for the families there as well.
Absolutely. And again, congratulations to Dr. Greg Murphy for winning this race. And
again, thank you all. Have a good night. Thank you so much for watching. This is BJ Murphy, publisher of News News. Brian Hanks, editor of News News. Thank you again for watching News News and newsnews.com.